Batik and the handloom and the local apparel minister of state of government of Sri Lanka in Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, president of Sri Lanka's cabinet, and actually as I have highlighted, Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekera is a Sinhalese with a wrong education through the University of Colombo, and then he sought a shortcut in life rather than working hard for the benefit of the country, because his relations are Mr. Channa Vijayawardena, brother-in-law, and Upuli Vijayawardena, the sister-in-law, and his elder brother is Mr. Kitsiri Jayasekera. So Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekera's career was more towards rather than being a singer or arts career, towards politics. But his elder brother and their relations, Upuli and Channa Vijayawardena, they are prominent Sri Lankan artists, especially Mr. Kitsiri Jayasekera, his brother, Mr. Dayasiri's brother, is a prominent senior artist in Sri Lankan music industry. And but the thing is, we know that more controversially, Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekera rose to prominence through the art career, through the politics. That was the strategy. He came through the arts as a model singer and then entered the politics through the wrong education at the University of Colombo. So he came into prominence in a reality show Megastar of the Swarnavahini in 2010, which is a LTT diaspora strategy to bring Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekera into media highlight and then make him like a air bubble, similar to economic bubble, like a bubble politician, to attack the astute statesmanship international backed career of Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe. That's why his rift with Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe emerged later, which was really controversial under LTT international backing that happened, and it continues to happen. And but the thing is, in Swarnavahini Mega Star program in 2010, we know Swarnavahini was taken over later by a LTT related businessman soon after 2015 government change, where Minister of Sports was Mr. Dayasiri. So the thing is, he actually became the runner-up into Megastar reality show of Swarnavahini in 2010, and still he got the praise there. That's what he wanted, to enter into the political political bubble leader through the media coverage, and thereby attack the Sri Lanka's astute statement like internationally recognized leader Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, and he released controversially Sansare, his first song, in 2012. So we can see that Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekera at present, he attacks again the LTT international diaspora is backing Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekera to attack Mr. Basil Rajapaksa, because LTT diaspora knows that it's Basil Rajapaksa who really was instrumental, since LTT leaders at that time showed to the whole world that they are not really concerned about the Sri Lankan Tamils rights. That's why the Prabhakaran accepted payments of nearly 60 million, I think, through Tiran Alas, who is a Sri Lanka Chetty Tamil related Sinhala Buddhist person, because Mr. R.I.T. Alas is a Sri Lanka Chetty Tamil. Alas means Sri Lanka Chetty Indian Tamil, but his wife, Mrs. Rohini Nana Alas, is a Sinhala Buddhist lady. So their children, Tiran Alas, is more balanced ethnicities, DNA biologically. So he was instrumental in negotiating through the LTT agents to give this money. It's more than 60 million, which Basil Rajapaksa offered before the presidential election in 2015 to give to LTT leader, and where LTT leaders Prabhakaran agreed to stop Sri Lankan innocent Tamil people from northern province especially from voting against Mr. Basil Mahinda Rajapaksa, Mr. Basil's brother, and thereby LTT leaders actually the political thing they did was like a political strategy, background political strategy that supported Mr. Basil Rajapaksa's and emergence of Mahinda Rajapaksa as victorious in the 2015 presidential election, because of the reason LTT prevented the Sri Lanka Tamil community in northern province especially, where they are the majority predominantly, and eastern province as well to a certain extent, from voting towards Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe. So what they did was they kept the voters out of the polling booths. So that showed LTTs are really terrorists. They really are not taken Sri Lankan Tamil community's interest by preventing the universal franchise to be exercised in a fair way. At election, they stopped the voting of the Sri Lankan Tamil community, and then they got trapped because Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe marginally lost the presidential election in 2015, and it paved the way for Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa, more like a Sinhalese Buddhist Ruhuna leader to emerge, and then let paved the way for downfall of LTT later in 2009, May. So this because of this situation, LTT diaspora is very angry with Mr. Basil Rajapaksa. That is why they are using this time also Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekera to attack Mr. Basil Rajapaksa through Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekera, as they did to used him to attack Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe after the 2010 when the war ended in 2009. Because these days we have seen in media Mr. Dayasiri Jayasekera saying that he ridicules this Batik and then this Batik ministers, state ministers for Batik, paper industry and handloom, different industries, but then mortar in industry. So he does it, and he says this cabinet state minister portfolios of this paper minister, Batik minister, also all this stuff had been a decision of Mr. Basil Rajapaksa, and he says the cabinet of President Rajapaksa, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa is actually developed by portfolios were decided by this. He ridicules these state ministerships, right? Say that Batik and also like pepper and plantation, different areas, specifically sugar cane, etc. Because he says this is Mr. P.B. Jayasundara's and Mr. Basil Rajapaksa's decision, and he attacks both of them, Mr. Dr. P.B. Jayasundara and Mr. Basil Rajapaksa, because both of them are really good Sri Lankan leaders, because they are more concerned about the country, because Mr. Dr. P.B. Jayasundara is instrumental in supporting Sri Lanka throughout the past, during difficult times to negotiate with the IMF and the World Bank. But really, certain things we cannot accept that happen because of the involvement of the corrupt employees of the Central Bank. So I think he is now trying to bring downfall of both Dr. Jayasundara and also Mr. Basil Rajapaksa, based on international LTT diaspora's backing.